Welcome to Tech Now. I'm your host, John Reid, CEO of CATA Alliance. And from his offices in New York, we have Robert Bell, the founder, or rather co-founder of the Intelligent Community Forum and lead author of a book called Brain Gain. Robert, I was interested in your book, How Innovative Cities Create Job Growth in an Age of Disruption. So what's the premise behind the book? What did you find out?
Well, John, it's pretty straightforward. Age of disruption tells you a great deal. We all know from our personal experiences, whether we're on the good side of disruption or the bad side of disruption, what a major force it's become. And our fundamental premise in the book, as it is for the Intelligent Community Forum, is that cities and regions have a choice. They can either adapt and prosper, which takes a lot of work, a lot of intentional effort, or they can let themselves be run over, and we see over and over again. We first began seeing it in the 70s and 80s, and even though we've finished most of that horrible wave of deindustrialization and job loss, we still see the ongoing disruptions in every industrial society, increasingly in the developed nations as well.
What does that mean for a mayor of a city? Should he be looking at a different paradigm? What's the guidance to the leaders of our cities?
One of the things that always fascinates me about technology, and technology, of course, is underlying most of this disruption, is that when we encounter something new in technology, we seem to forget everything we ever knew. We consider the problem to be completely new and never noticed, never seen before, and of course, in point of fact, it's not. So let's talk about broadband as one disruptive factor. It's another form of infrastructure. We know what infrastructure is if we're the mayor or the city council. This is the next one, and the question is, do you have it, and what is its quality? If you have it and it's of good quality, then the next question is, what do you do with it? And that's where the intentionality comes in. Cities and regions can't just build the road and hope that somebody drives on it. They have to work very hard to get their citizens, their businesses, their institutions using that asset to create economic prosperity, to attack social problems, oftentimes that have been around for a very long time, as well as the additional social challenges that come from having part of your population online and part of your population offline. And finally, and this is the surprising part, I think, to often enrich and strengthen their cultures locally. We think of these technologies as being things that kind of steamroll over culture, and instead we find that correctly used, it's a very powerful means to bring your culture to the world.
Well, you mentioned a key word there, intention, and that is so tied up with leadership. If a leader declares an intention, he doesn't have to describe to people the steps they need to take. It's basically that he sets a vision, and all the resources under him figures out how to reach the end of the touchdown point. So would you agree that that intention is one of your keys?
It is absolutely one of the keys, and it's not always the mayor, and it's not always even a leader who is an official title. We find that leadership comes from different places in the community, and sometimes it's an elected official, sometimes it's a set of administrative people, sometimes it's a retired business person. And the real goal, the real trick of all of this, of course, is that leadership ultimately needs to become shared. It needs to become a collaboration, because that's what powers change. My vision is my vision, and maybe I can be persuasive about it one-on-one. If I can get 15 people who to share that vision, all of them persuading others, then suddenly we got a ballgame.
Well, you made a social media statement, because as we know, when you look at social media, sometimes the leaders are not who we think they are or who they should be. So I think that's a key. Obviously, we can't go over all of your book in a few minutes, so I certainly encourage people to read it. But I wanted to give you some closing remarks. You're bringing the ICF Summit to Toronto.
Yeah, this is the first time. We started our summit back in '94, so we're coming to Toronto. It's kind of fun for us because we think that the intelligent community movement got its start in 1995 when one of our co-founders, John Young, practically mortgaged his house, I think, to do this. But in any case, he pulled it off. He put on a wonderful conference called Smart 95 in Toronto. And it was really, if I had it all on record, I could tell you that it foreshadowed a tremendous number of things that have been happening in the last 15, 20 years. So we're going back to Toronto. It is the first time that we're taking this outside of the United States. We are actually very eager to begin moving this event around, because we've established it well enough, I think, that we want to bring it to where people are and not always require people to come to us.
So we'll set the destination. Next June in Toronto.
Next June in Toronto.
Robert Bell, co-founder of the Intelligent Community Forum, author on brain gain. Thank you for joining us, Tech Now, and thank you for your leadership in advancing smart cities.
Great pleasure to be with you. Good luck.